And we are live.
Hi
Late,
guys.
but live.
Hi guys. Welcome to another Friendly Differences podcast. This show is just me and Solid, but anyone in the chat, anyone listening, feel free to make it known if you want to come on and ask us any questions, or maybe come on and say something of your own, any beliefs that you have. We're more than open to taking on subjects, issues that are out there in the world. So Solid and I have we as we always do, we go back and forth during the week, and we'll resolve some of those issues hopefully tonight, or talk a little bit about them. We also, I think it'd be a good idea to maybe recap some of our shows, ask each other a few questions about how you feel the show is going, and then just get into it, just have a chat. These shows are slowly becoming, not that I don't like the topic shows, because it's always good to see other faces and hear other views, but the last two shows that me and Solid have done just together have been really good. Like, I think we're learning more about each other, and I think that's key as co-hosts. Like, we did a show, and I was grateful that Solid actually said, like, let's just do a show on conspiracies, and you were asking me all the stuff about like what's our beliefs. And I mean, even just getting that out of the way to see where I am is kind of good. And obviously, as we go on, we'll learn more about each other. So, Solid, how do you feel about tonight's show?
I will say this with the conspiracy thing, and I know on my show, we talk a lot about different things, and people um, say different things. But I wanted to actually ask you if we can back up of something that Shy Lady said, and you left me a message about that, saying that you were happy to hear that she had said that, because I did want to respond to that. So can you recap what you said about Shy Lady?
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you brought that. I never thought about that one. But so your show this week on it was about mobile. Do you have a life? Do you really have a life? Something like that. And it was pertaining to people who are stuck with their heads in their phones all day. And I'm guilty of that at times. And it was a great show. And as some of your shows go, since maybe I've came around, they do kind of go dark or conspiracy theory way. And I find it, I kind of feel a little bit guilty when it happens, because I'm like, am I taking over the show kind of thing? And it's not that, but I just can't help myself. And I think a lot of people, like when you get into even politics, I think in the last few years, you go into a right leaning political show on Podbean or any show, listen to a right leaning podcast, they're talking about conspiracy theories. It's almost as if conspiracy theories have become more mainstream. Um, and your show the other night there, it was good to hear. We kind of went down the route, and I think Sava, our friend, that show's
Mm-hmm.
not actually uploaded, but you guys will maybe remember Sava from, she jumped on the religion and spirituality show. We did a show with her, and she was in that show, and she kind of brought it down that rabbit hole of technology and control, and WhatsApp being, is it encrypted or not encrypted? That's the dangerous one, the one that they can look into your
Mm-hmm.
phone and see
Mm-hmm.
who you're talking to and see what you're writing. And I felt it was, I made comment, and then Shy Lady, who's a friend of the show and was on actually our first episode, Freedom of Speech, came on the panel and talked a little bit about it. She was noticing that our world was going in that way, that it's all kind of like control and maybe social security, or is it social credit score, where we as humans will be graded
Mm-hmm.
for our behavior. And it was really hard. And the audio note I sent you this week was, I loved hearing that, especially from Shy Lady. And this is what I'm going on to say. I hated that I didn't know the right words to come across as not patronizing, because I'm a conspiracy theorist and I've gone down the darkest holes for like 5-6 years. And then obviously, from what I know, Shy Lady is not that way inclined. So to hear it from someone that isn't into conspiracy theories and probably pushes back on a lot I say, it was hard to kind of say, Shy Lady, that's amazing, but it's good to hear it from someone who isn't awake. It's almost as if you're patronizing them, but I meant it as a compliment.
But do
Maybe.
you? But do you think that that's a conspiracy though? Because because you can have various views but still stick with another view. I mean, if I think it's obvious with a lot of things, especially with social media, that people are addicted to it. It's an addictive medium. I don't think that there's, I don't think that that's anything, whether you're left, right, Baptist, Protestant, whatever. I mean, that's what it is. And that's how I saw Shy Lady taking it. I didn't see her taking it as, oh yeah, I now believe
No,
and
no.
all this other stuff. I mean, I took it as her. I mean, because I think the same thing. And then when you talk about these right leaning shows, I think that the conspiracies, a lot of it came up um because of the big lie, as it's called,
What's
um,
that?
that the election was stolen. Um,
Yeah, I think
and
we were before that.
because
But
but no, but I'm saying, but it became it became even more so after that. But before that, you saw it more after the former
mhm,
guy
mhm,
was elected, and all of a
mhm,
sudden, because to me, he put that platform out there. He made it possible for people to come up with all of these different things, and people would just say stuff. People, oh yeah, you're right, you're right.
yeah,
And it is true. If you repeat something over and over again,
mhm,
people will believe it. And that's where I always come back and say, well, you have to make a decision, a choice on whether it's
mhm,
true or whether it's not true. Because
yeah,
some of the things that are out there are so ridiculous to me. And
mhm.
one of them is one of the ones that you said about how uh what was it? The white race was going to, what was
Mhm.
it? Um
The Kalergi plan, where they're trying to eradicate the white race.
yes, and that came out from this guy, can't remember his name.
Kalergi.
Yes, yes, and I mean, and it's just so ridiculous because, you know, on one hand, other people can say the same thing, with the killings and, let them just go kill each other and, whatever. I mean, that's just
Mhm.
so outlandish to me, considering that the white race is the majority of the population. And if you
The white Europeans are only 9% of the world's population, and it
okay, so
was
you're talking about white Europeans.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so all right, so if that's the case, then have more babies.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's exactly you're right, but that's not happening because you come over to the UK. Hopefully, you do this year. We've been talking about it, and it's spot the white man in a lot of big cities. I think the smaller towns and villages, obviously they're okay, but it's the biggest tool of that conspiracy theory is immigration. They're literally sending floods of boats of Africans, Middle Easterns. We're bombing them, and I'm not against. Like this is why it's all a plan. They bomb the Middle East for years and years, and then open up the the borders to them all. Who are we to say, look, we're bombing you and you come? You know what I mean? Like if you talk out about they shouldn't be here, then you're a Nazi, racist piece of crap. Or if you keep your mouth shut, your country's now being like
Okay, so
here's
are
one
you
point.
talking about that it's the country that's not going to have it? Or are you talking about the population as a whole? Because what's the difference between those people still staying over in Africa or in the Middle East? I mean, they are still there, and you are still where
Yeah,
you are.
that's not the problem. What I'm saying is, I mean, this is the darkest conspiracy theory. Like I would even say, talking about it might be a worry for YouTube. But um, the what I will say is here's one for you. And I actually said this to Strange Brew podcast. We were talking on Telegram yesterday for a while, and I asked him if he knew about that conspiracy theory, and he says, "Oh yeah," and he was open minded to it, and he certainly he thinks it is the same as well. But I says my actually I won't say names, right, because it could get them into trouble. But I know someone that works in retail, and someone came into their shop about a month ago and said, and now this person was like Latina, like Mexican Latina race or something, and she said to this person, "Boy, Scotland's so whitewashed. It's crazy. All you see is like it's white, white, white." And this person in their heads was like, "Wow, it's Scotland. What do you expect?" But obviously, you've got to be nice to customers, and that's what I'm saying. Like talking like this is very dangerous. Like it's like I'm going to be labelled an alt-right Nazi now. Anyone hears this, but it's like I have no right to go into your country. I wouldn't go immigrating to like Japan and start saying this country is too Japanese. We need to multiculturalize it. We need to, you just don't do that, and that's what's happening all around. And it's definitely done by design. It's to boil it like Anthony Bourdain. There's a famous clip that gets shared about with him sat at a table somewhere in the Middle East eating a meal with a guy and saying, "So do you think the only way to defeat racism and to defeat all the problems that we have in the world is to make the world a big boiling pot, melting pot with all different cultures and all that?" And sounds good to a lot of people, but I like that we have Japanese people and Chinese people and American people and Mexican people, Scottish people. And that's the part that everyone's missing. You love the culture. We love the tartan and the kilt and the bagpipes. And I love to go to Mexico and see the mariachi and the sombreros and the culture and sample their food. That's all going to disappear. And that is going to take a long time still, but it's very much in play. It's been in play for, I would say, since 9/11. I would say that's probably when it started to initiate the regime change wars in the Middle East, take out Gaddafi, take out Saddam, and put in their guys, put the banks in place, the Rothschild-owned Federal Reserve banks, because a lot of these guys didn't want to pay for oil and gas with the the Federal Reserve. They wanted to pay for it in the petrodollar or some other currency, and that's why they were taken out. They strum up hate about Saddam killing his own people and Gaddafi. Gaddafi was loved by his people. The people you saw on your TV pulling down statues and jumping up and down they were actors. They were just a group of guys who were like, "Here, we'll give you a lot of money if you can stand there and jump around and dance."
But well, first I want to say hello to Tuttles. Hello to Tuttles over on Facebook. The problem that I have with that, because there is also a theory that one reason why that police officers do not arrive fast enough in Black neighborhoods when there's a shooting is because they say, just let them kill each other.
Yeah.
I believe that. So that's another theory. So in that case, you can say, well, that's okay. Wrong. I mean, yeah, but I'm saying, but there's another theory that is out there.
So do you? I've said there that is wrong, and I fully believe that goes on. But do you believe? Do you? Well, not believe what I believe, what I just said, but do you think that's wrong? If that's happening, do you think that's wrong?
I think that it's wrong, but I don't think it's happening the way you're saying that it's happening. I believe that the powers that be, which we all know who they are, want a certain group of people to control everything. And I think that I don't think they're trying to necessarily eradicate people. I definitely don't think that the white race will ever be gone, because the powers that be who want to control everything are mostly white. That's a fact. So I don't think
the people that control our world are mostly white.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
So when I look at the powers that be, no matter where they are, I mean, even if you're talking about Japan, North Korea, whatever, but they are the minority compared to everyone else that is around. I mean, you look at the way the British went in, took over India. The British they've gone in and they've taken over a lot of places, and Americans have come in, and white Americans have come in and they've taken over. So the white race is never going to be
See,
gone.
see on that point, you are right. I agree that they are white on the outset. And I've made this comment before on one of your shows that kind of got a little bit out of hand, where with a certain individual, and I said, you're right to point out that a lot of people that are at the highest level, that own all the big corporations and are at the highest level of government, are white. But I know, I was going to say I believe, but I know the reason that they are in those positions isn't because of the color of their skin. I can assure you that it's because of something else that are. You guys will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not because their skin color they're there. It's another privilege that they have, and I'm not.
Well, I
I'm
mean, well, welcome Hannah over on Facebook. Uh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to see what's going on YouTube. Okay, so I mean, I understand what you're saying, but if you look at how things have changed and evolved over the centuries, who's always come out on top? It's not the dark people, it's the lighter people. And some people may say, and I'm trying to be careful with my words because I don't want us to
Yeah,
get,
but it's
I don't want us to get banned off of
you know,
YouTube, you know. So
this has been quite a
so
dark
guys,
start.
we're kind of doing this
Yeah.
in order to get to the point. So hopefully you
Can
guys
I, can I
will follow us.
I'll pull it if you want to carry on. We can carry on, but I'll pull it back to the shy lady comment if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So you were asking, do you believe that that is a conspiracy theory? And I was going to say, yes, it is, but because we're getting closer and closer to it, and it's already been put out there, people will justify it and say, well, it was always going to happen. Like the example I'm thinking about is the microchip. Now, we all know about Elon Musk's Neuralink that he wants to insert in the back of our heads to be able to upload things like listen to music. You just need to chip into your phone, and that's like out there, right? But then they're now, since COVID, there's articles. The Pentagon came out and said that they are talking about implanting us with a chip. Now, this was the biggest conspiracy theory probably for the past 20, 30 years. People have said one day they're going to chip us all and they'll be able to turn off our chips and kill us whenever they want and all that. And that's the conspiracy theory. Now, there's a guy on Twitter that I've had on my show that I go back and forth with, or did until he didn't want me doing it anymore, because I was, I like to combativeness. I like to challenge people on their beliefs. And I thought that's how he wanted to. Now I'm seeing him posting about these headlines that are out in the news now, saying that they want to implant chips into people. And he's now saying, yeah, but it's not that the microchip is the conspiracy theory. The conspiracy theory is the one that they'll use the microchip to control us. So it's like he's just moving with the times, whereas people like me are warning people years in advance of there's going to be a virus that will hit the world next year. There's going to be microchips. There's going to be social credit score. But what you'll notice is, and you've done it with a virus, where I've said, I know a guy that was going around walking his dog, telling people that he would stop and speak to. Next year, we're going to be standing 6 feet apart, wearing masks, lockdowns, and all that. And these people are like, "You're off your head. You're insane." And then the next year, a virus comes, and then I think you said, and not only you, I've heard this so many times that, well, yeah, well, we're bound to be hit with a virus soon. We've had SARS, we've had Ebola. It's like it's almost as if as time goes on, we can justify the conspiracy theories, and it's like, well, that's not a conspiracy theory. That was always going to be. That's natural. Like I feel that's what that comment was. It was like the social credit score has been a conspiracy theory for years, but see, the closer we get to it, people who once called me crazy will say, well, I think we need it because look, we've got shooters, we've got terrorist attacks, so it's really good that we have this social credit score because it'll really make people behave. That's what you'll hear.
But I don't. First of all, I think social credit scores are wrong. I think any way that you're trying to follow someone, is wrong. And that's why with your phones and everything, I have no problem putting a cover over my phone or my laptop, whatever. I'm putting something there because I do believe that whether your computer is turned off or not, that there's a way that, if
Mhm.
you leave your top open or whatever, or your lens open, that someone is listening. I do believe that that happens with Alexa. I do believe this. I
Mhm.
mean, I think it's been proven.
Mhm.
But I think that, and I don't see those as a conspiracy theory. I see the hard nosed, the the cute people who think that, JFK Jr. is going to come back and he's going to be, Trump's VP. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
um Tuttle says smart TVs,
Mhm.
listen as well. So I mean, and everything is like smart, because
Mhm.
even in our house, I got tired of getting up to go turn off a light or turn on a light. So I
Yeah.
told my husband, I'm sorry, I gotta. So I'm in there, one day I'm pulling out stuff, screwing in stuff, whatever, and I'm taking stuff from my phone. But in the back of my head, I'm going, okay, great. So now somebody's staring at me, you know,
Yeah.
in my light switch and stuff. But
Mhm.
this is the route that we are going. This is, I don't think that's a theory that, that people, yes, they talked about it, but the crazy stuff is, like I said, it's the QAnon, just that far-fetched
Yeah.
stuff, like, seriously,
Yeah. I agree.
so
I'm not on board with the QAnon stuff at all. I think it's distraction. I think it's Trump's our savior. He's going to come back and save us, and he's taking down all these sex traffickers and doing all this great work. But he's just part of the plan as well. He's all part of the illusion, and providing that, for me, what's happening now with the shootings, and there, in my opinion, there's going to be more and more this year. I would say this year there's going to be more than any other year, because I think we're getting to the point where they are going to try and take the guns from the Americans. And if that happens, that's the last hurdle for me. I think that would be the last hurdle before they can implement this system that we're talking about. The George Orwell book 1984 is pretty much, I know it's not, yeah, no, a lot of conspiracy theories, they do reference it, but it's not the be all and end all. We're not saying that that's exactly the way we're going to live, but it is kind of an insight into how they want us to live, because we are easier to be controlled. And that in itself, you should realize that these people aren't like you and I. The people that run our world clearly want us to be controlled in a nefarious way, because they're not going to be affected by this. That's what makes me, like, we're talking about people that we know might run for governor or MP or whatever. They're never going to have a chance. It's like you have to be a psychopath, like you really do, to feel that it's okay to lock down a whole world or put a social credit score in, or it's just sick. It's evil,
it
and that's
is,
the
it
part that
is.
makes it. That's the part that people should be thinking. These people aren't wired the same way as you and I. They've all gone to private schools, or in my opinion, a lot of them have been probably test tube baby, locked in a room all their life, fed 3 meals a day. They don't feel empathy. They're like, I think there's a theory around Barack Obama. That's his kind of life. His dad was from somewhere in Africa. His mum was in the CIA. She was a sex kitten, worked for the CIA, and he was pulled away. I think Prescott Bush, or one of the Bushes brought him up in a way. I think he's. I know I'm going a bit off, but there's a theory with Obama that he was basically shown no love as a child. He was brought up very strict, and like no human contact. He is no, and I'm not just picking on him, but I believe a lot of these people that rule our world are brought up and grown up in a weird way where they don't feel any empathy for the human race. They're just wrong, and that shows when they can do these kind of things. They have to be.
Well, yeah, and just to throw back on the other side too, is they say the same thing about Trump. The way Trump was, the way he was brought up. But I
Yeah.
I think that, again, I think that there are a group of people who control things,
Mhm.
and it's all about and it's not even necessarily about money. I mean, yes, all these people are rich, a lot of them are filthy rich, but it's also about power.
Yeah.
And you just see how much power can corrupt someone.
Mhm.
I look at, I'm just going to say the name. I don't know if it's going to be banned from YouTube or not. You can look at someone like Kristen Cinema, who I am liberal, whatever. But how much money has she made since 2018? How much money has she made? How corrupt has she become?
I don't know who that is.
Kristen Cinema is the senator from Arizona.
Okay.
So and to me she's not about the people. Um let's see. I just want to bring up some of these things. Timbo says The Rock will be the president of the US in 6 years. Well, it wouldn't be 6 years. It would be, because it's 4-year term. So, well, yeah, I guess that would be six. Okay. Sleepy Joe is the prelude to The Rock. People realize how bad he looks, and it's on purpose so The Rock looks even stronger. Okay. Um, I and even with this, it's like if you repeat something over and over and over,
Mhm.
Trump gave him the term Sleepy Joe, and now people are using that term.
Mhm.
So again, you
That's
repeat something, over and over, people are going to use it. But
Mhm.
I mean, I do believe that it is pretty much predestined on who's going to be president, who's going to be this, and who is going to be that. But it doesn't mean that we still can't fight back. It still doesn't mean that we still can't take a stand. And I do agree with you on one thing, is I think that everybody in the world on tax day should just not pay taxes. What are you going to do? Are you going to arrest everybody?
Yep.
I
I like
mean, so
that.
no. And that is a great point. If everyone
Yep.
just said, "I'm not going to pay my taxes," even if you ended up paying it late, but on April 15th, nobody filed taxes, and I don't know what date it is for you, but if on tax day, wherever you are,
We
just
don't
don't.
we don't file taxes here. We just get them taken off our wages every week or every month, however you get paid.
Oh, okay. So they get you that way. They get you they get you beforehand. So I mean, and we're still getting taxes. I'm still getting, money still gets taken out of our checks, and what have you. But well, I work for myself. So,
Mhm.
but see, Timbo says they all break bread together, no matter what side of the political spectrum they are on, and I believe that. I believe that in front of the cameras, they have
Mhm.
to say, "Oh yes, this person. Oh no, you're wrong. You're bad, bad, bad." But then when I mean, if and it's funny because when you go to the Capitol and you go down to the cafeteria, where everyone's eating, and by the way, the food is really good there. And you're down there and you see this senator is having lunch with this senator, and they're all laughing and everything, and then
Oh yeah.
30 minutes later, they're doing their interview,
Mhm.
for Fox or CNN or BBC, whoever, and
Yeah.
they're saying, "Oh, well, I think what Boss said was, no, he's just horrible. Well, I think what Solid said, she's this." But we just got finished having lunch, and we just
Yeah.
got finished laughing and joking, probably deciding if our families were going to get together for the weekend on one of our boats.
That
you know,
that's
you
how
know.
I see that's how I see Hillary and Trump after that comment, you'd be in jail. They're going out backstage and they're going, high five, well done, that was class. Oh, that was funny when you said that, and hugging each other. Honestly, that's how high it goes. It's all a scam. They're all we're the mugs.
So that's why I say, when you say the conspiracies on that, I don't necessarily think it's a conspiracy. I just think that the little people,
Mm.
us, me, because I'm a little person, have to, fight back, and there are ways to do it. And me, I can officially say I've become an activist, whatever. And I'm finding my own way to fight back on certain things. So,
Mhm.
and everyone has to find their own way.
Mhm.
And Timbo says it's all wrestling, Carney. bullshit. It is.
That was a heavy start to the conversation.
Well, I mean, and guys, this is what we talk about. So
Yeah.
our conversations, just so you guys know, our conversations go all kinds of different ways. And people who have been on our shows, who have been guests, and Timbo knows, this is the stuff that that we talk about. And I just want to go back a little bit, if I can talk about my show for a moment. I've been getting a little bit of slack. Some people send me emails, just saying that sometimes I go too far. I don't think that I do. But I talk about stuff that people don't want to talk about. And what's funny is some of the people who are sending me these emails saying I go too far are on my show. So,
How do you mean too far? What do they mean by too far?
Well, that comment that you made, or, maybe you shouldn't have let this person say this, or maybe, your topic should be a little bit more. No. Then don't come on my show. Don't come on my show. If you think that my topics are too risque, or too racial, or, too whatever, don't come on. I mean, there are shows and formats that I don't like. I don't go on their shows. I mean, it's just not for me. So my show is not for everyone. But I knew that when I was doing a show that I was going to talk about whatever. And when people say that politics and religion, or even sex, are two things or three things that you should not talk about, those to me are people who are not mature enough to handle the conversation. Because if you're going to, I mean, yes, people get upset and things are said and feelings may be hurt. But if you can rebound from that and still say, okay, you know what, that was a great show, or you know what, I understand, whatever, and come back the next day and, we're talking about, little Johnny that you had a crush on when you were 2, I mean, come on. Because I'm just going to say one more thing. I even got pushed back on the show where we were talking about when Kimberly was on, and we're talking about, she was talking about satisfying a man and things like that. I thought it was funny, but you know what? Yeah. That was one of my most downloaded shows, and I think one reason why it was most downloaded is because people were relating to it. They don't necessarily want to admit it, but they relate to it, So Tim says, you called on day one of your show. You've done exactly what you said you were going to do. Congratulations on not bending. And you know what? And I'm not. I am not. I am going to continue to. I said it. This is what it is. And I have some other sex stuff that I want to talk about. If Kimberly wants to come back on and enhance it, that is fine. For the conspiracy stuff, believe me, I don't mind. I don't mind when you go down that route, because other people may want to say something, but they can't, or they aren't willing to, and you're saying it for them. And that's how I feel I am. I'm saying it for people who just can't say it. So.
Yeah, I mean, that comment about you shouldn't talk about politics, what is it? Politics, sex, and
religion.
I would say, I mean, I've pushed back on that a lot of times on my own show, where I say the reason we're in this mess, I mean, politics obviously is the main one, but the reason there's problems in the world is because people don't want to talk about things, and then problems ensue. So, that's, to me, that's the whole root of the problem, is not talking about things. So I do agree, sometimes it can be like beating a dead horse. That was a comment you made to me this week, beating a dead horse, where it becomes insanity. A lot of the shows I go into, most again are right leaning, to show that I'm not being biased, and it sounds like they're beating a dead horse. And what you'll find with those people is their show won't continue long, because it takes hold of your energy. It becomes draining. Oh, I've got to go on and talk about the same stuff over and over again. But when you do a show like yours, where you've got different opinions coming on the show, and you're, I think that's a testament to yourself and why everyone's graduate. What's the word? Gone towards your show. Uh, and your numbers are going up, and it's all good. We're all obsessed with your show. We can't wait for 9 o'clock at night UK time when I'm jumping on. What's the topic? And even if I can't participate, it's good to hear the familiar faces and even newer faces coming in and giving their opinion. So I'm not a fan of shutting down speech at all and not talking about things. I hate that you can't talk about things in a pub with your friends. Like none of my friends, other than maybe Mitchell, if he's listening right now, really take an interest in politics and like what's going on in the world. And I think that's a problem. Everyone wants to be distracted by sport or TV programs. What's going on with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard? Like it's all like that. It's like no, you should be looking at what's happening with like Russia, Ukraine, what's going on with Roe v. Wade, what's going on with the shootings. Like this is really life changing stuff. It'll affect your life.
Well, I mean, to play both sides. I mean, you can't tell people what they should
No,
be
no,
be,
no.
be interested in, because if you were on Team Herd and you were in a relationship where your husband was beating you, you're going to take interest. If you're on Team Depp, where you were a man who was being abused by your wife, which does happen,
Yeah,
you're going, so there's interest there. I mean, I
yeah,
can understand why, but a lot of it also, was for entertainment, where people were, whatever. Because I would go on YouTube later tonight, and I would just laugh at just some of the stuff, that went in, what people were saying and what was going on. But
yeah.
but at the same time, some people, people relate to different things. So
Mhm.
um, but I get what you're saying.
Can I make a three? Well, I won't say a number because it might go on. I'm embarrassed at myself that I'm going to even dedicate a little bit of time to that sham of a court case that I didn't really pay attention to, other than you get the odd little clips with Johnny Depp and then the Jack Sparrow. You know, the one about he had a jar of cocaine and then I got a jar of that. Like they were funny, and then the one where Amber Heard's like sniffing and it looks as if she's
Yeah.
like that's as far as I went. But what I will say is, remember you asked me, was it you this week or someone asked me this week, uh, what's going on in the UK? And I've had this a few times, and I just always say the same answer, which is whatever's happening in America, give us a week or two, we'll be doing the same thing. Well, what's happened? You guys have had Johnny Depp
Yeah.
and Amber Heard. We've got two wags, which is I don't know if you use that term in America, but two footballers. A footballer's wife is known as a wag, a WAG, and anyone in the chat can type in what that stands for. I used to know WAG, a wag. It's just a girlfriend or a wife that goes shopping all day and wears all the fancy clothes and that. So these two wags, one plays for one football team, one plays for another, but the two wives have gotten into it, and it's about I don't even know, but they're quarreling, and that's going to be on live TV. So it just shows you we're just like a couple of weeks behind. But I'll ask you, like, in just a little about that, right? What do you think is going to happen from the Johnny? Like, what do you think the message is? Like, what are you seeing online? What's the main message?
I think from what I'm seeing online and what I'm seeing in the news is that Amber Heard did women a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
That if there ever is a time when your husband really is hurting you, or your partner, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's the burden of proof is going to be even harder,
Mm-hmm.
because she potentially lied.
Yeah.
And then for Johnny Depp, he did men a service.
Mm-hmm.
Did men a favor, because people don't think that a man can be abused by his wife, and
Mm-hmm.
they absolutely can.
Yeah.
They can be physically and mentally,
Yeah.
abused. So that's what I think. You
How
know,
many court cases are televised each year? Would you say?
it depends upon the state, because if you go on court TV, you have cases that are like 24/7.
or like high status cases, like celebrity or
There's so many, because if a celebrity in America coughs wrong and the person sitting next to the other celebrity next to him, or somebody says, "Oh my God, you coughed on me," that could be a court case. So,
yeah,
I mean, you have so many.
yeah. Because what I'm thinking is, as I say, I haven't paid attention, but there was a TikTok video that came up yesterday, and instantly, as soon as I heard that there was going to be a court case with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, um, I that to me is a red light for conspiracy theory. I know this is the way I
Mhm.
think. I've told you before. This is how I am. So I'm thinking, what is the definitive? What is the meaning of this court case? What is it going to do? Because the outcome of this court case will affect our lives in some way, or at least put a feeling out there in society that will change people's minds. And that's why I'm asking you. And last night, I was flicking through TikTok, and this woman was saying, I really feel sorry for men after that court case. If you're a man and you're dating or married or in a relationship with a woman right now, I advise you, and she was just an average person, I advise all men to start keeping a diary, because this is disgusting, women and all that. Now, to me, that's exactly why that court case was televised. Because, as I said earlier, George Orwell, if you
Mhm.
see the relationship,
I've read 1984.
the 1984, but the relationship between men and women is so different. They're not together as a loving sexual partnership. They're together as just I don't even think they're together. I haven't got that far in the book. That's the bit I got to, the bit where they get together one night to procreate, and then they wake up and they go, and they walk away from each other or something. And that's what this is all about. It's dividing men and women even further apart, because in my mind, the reason why they locked down restaurants and pubs during lockdown here in the UK was because they don't want us talking. They don't want us congregating in pubs. When men get together in pubs, or women, they talk. And if you get 10, 20, 30 drunk men sat around a bar late at night going, this is disgusting what they're doing. People are losing their jobs. People are dying of suicide. They're locking our countries down. The numbers don't justify it. We're hitting the streets tomorrow. That's what happens. But they don't want that. So they're locking down pubs. They don't want us congregating. And they're driving
No,
a wedge.
but people found a way to get together. I mean, whether it be on Zoom, where yes, people can listen in, whatever. But people,
Yeah.
I mean, there. I mean, I live in a conservative town. I live in a very conservative town, and during the lockdowns and everything, people were meeting over people's homes. They were in their garages having, get-togethers. I don't know how many parties people were having. People will get together. So just because you say that this particular building or this store or restaurant you can't go in, people will always find a way. If people want to do something, whether it's getting together with somebody or they
Mhm.
want to take a gun and go and kill someone, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
So, and so what do you think about what Timbo says? The case was to cover up a very important case that was happening
Yeah.
simultaneously.
Do you know who he's referring to?
I don't know who you're referring to. So if you want
Uh,
to let us know,
Ghislaine
or
Maxwell. Is it Ghislaine Maxwell you're referring to?
that one, that case is going on.
Yeah.
Is
And
going
that
on.
again, that he's right. It's like we're being fooled and watched two celebrities who, in my opinion, the two of them are the same as how I feel about politicians. As soon as the court case ends, they're laughing and high fiving, going, "We're pulling the wool over their eyes." That's just how
Well,
I
that
see
that
these people.
I don't necessarily see that, but
Okay.
for,
Well,
for this, I think it may happen with some, but with this
mhm,
particular couple, I don't think
okay. Well,
that's happening.
here's another one. A comment was made this week on a show. I won't say the name of it, on your show. Pertaining to is there a state in America? I'm getting this wrong probably, but is there a state in America that's trying to make paedophilia okay, like a sexual preference? The person alluded to an acronym, MAP or something. They're trying to.
I don't remember that. I'm gonna have to go back, and because
Okay.
I re-listened
Well,
to all of
I
my
mean
shows. I don't remember that one.
that's been on the cards for a while now. They probably will one day be able to do it. I don't know how soon and all that, but this is how they'll do it. And I just thought about this today. I've not heard this from anyone, but this is how they could do it. You know about Prince Andrew, the
Mm-hmm.
Queen's son,
Mm-hmm.
and his involvement with Epstein. Now, what if they, and this could be amazing. If this happens, then you heard it here first. What if they had a court case with Prince Andrew, live streamed it, and made it so that we all felt sorry for him. He likes 15-year-olds, and the court case agenda was kind of like, well, okay, it's okay, and then the whole world gets on Prince Andrew's side, or a lot of them, and it becomes that paedophilia is actually okay. We'll make it, and that in itself, that court case could have a huge effect. That's one way they could do it, and that is what they do. They put a court case on our TV so that we're all zoomed in, and they'll make us feel sorry for something that they want to promote, and that's one way they could do it. So if it happens, you heard it here first. Do you see what I mean?
No, no, I'm yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about it because I think that's interesting. I
It
think
it sounds horrendous because I will die before I will allow a paedophile. Like I'll never ever, and a lot of people, even dare I say it, like progressive types, I even think they would be dead against it. Like they have a huge job in their hands trying to justify paedophilia. But the
well,
right
see
in,
now see I disagree with you with that because I don't know why the left has this thing where it's almost as if we support it, you
no,
know, and
I'll stick up for you there as well. Yeah, I think it's more like the LBGTQ, whatever it is. Like there's a joke, or I mean, it's not even a joke because it's sick, but they're going to add P on to the end of that one day. That's the feeling.
well, I mean, you
So
know what, and if they did just the sickness that is there,
yeah,
I mean, you know,
I mean,
why? I
I
mean,
can only
and even to joke about that, it's like the people who are joking about it. You know, I don't know if
mm,
that's coming from the right, whatever. How sick are you to even
mhm,
joke about something
yeah,
like that? I mean,
yeah,
I have a friend who told me that you need to look up this. You know, Democrats are all pedophiles. I said, so am I one? And she got silent. And I was like, seriously?
yeah,
Needless to say, we don't speak anymore. But I'm just saying, did she just called me a pedophile?
mm,
You know, so and just so y'all know, anybody who's out there listening, pedophiles come in all colors, sizes,
mhm,
red, you on the red, you on the blue, whatever. They come, there's a there are a lot of pedophiles.
mhm,
They're
yeah,
they're priests, they're nuns,
mhm.
you know, they're
It,
basketball
it,
players, they are everybody.
yeah. It might not happen, but I'm just saying that is how they do it. They'll put a story or a film or a docu series or something in the limelight that the whole world talk about in a good way. A good tip to realize what the agenda is for this month or this week or whatever is go to Twitter and go to the trending section. Those are the talking points they want us talking about, and eventually a lot of them will come to pass. Like someone better than me could probably think of tons of examples that have been like a no-no. Everyone's against it, and then all of a sudden it's passed, and everyone's like accepting of it now. Pedophilia is way up there for me. Like I'll never ever. That's like no. But I'm just thinking as well, like the age of consent in a lot of countries. I was shocked. I looked this up one day last year, and I'm sure there's some European countries that the age is 11. And when I saw that, I was like, no, surely that's like I know over in the Far East, like the Pakistan, like or those types of countries, there's a lot of their cultures that if they see fit that your kid at 6, 7, 8 years old, they can put them to go get a husband or a wife. That's what they
Well,
believe.
and you also have a lot of those families over in the Far East who are doing that. A lot of them are poor people who are selling their daughters
Mm,
um because they need food.
Yeah.
They which is sad because I I w- I would hate to be a girl. So when you're going to sell your 6-year-old daughter to a 40-year-old man, and she's going to be with him, and they all say, well, we'll wait until she's older. That's BS. They are not waiting. So it's like, and then all of a sudden this 6-year-old, or when she's able, all of a sudden she's 12 years old and she has this baby.
Mhm.
So my question would be is, if that person were here in the US and I'm going down the abortion route, would she be able to get an abortion, or would the people on the right saying, oh, no, 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 no? I mean, it's like, these are things that I think about. So, when you're, allowing the age of consent to be so low, you got to be prepared for what's going to come after. You have to be prepared for the result.
Mhm.
So, Timbo says they actually have a whole city there full of them people. And then he says the plus at the end is for young love.
What do you mean, Timbo? By they have a whole city there full of them people? That's shocking. If it is what I'm thinking it is.
Are you saying there's a whole city full of pedophiles?
I know, that's what I was thinking. This has been quite a deep conversation so far. I did not expect this, but it's good, and I think it's stuff that we should talk about.
Yes. Okay. And guys, again, I don't necessarily always want to have a show where you're constantly going back and forth at each other, but to have a show where we can talk about things like this that I know other people want to hear and possibly want to talk about, but for whatever reason they don't. See, Timbo says there's a Vice documentary on it. So but these are also things that people are talking about around their kitchen table. When they're going for that drive with their friends, they're in the car and you all are talking about it. So why not put it out there? Why not put it out there?
Yeah. And on a lighter note, I was going to ask you, what's been your favorite episode of Friendly Differences so far?
Every time we do one, I like it even
Yeah.
more.
Mhm.
And Tim, I know you're on here, so no offense, but I think Scooter,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was going to give Scooter an honourable mention because I could honestly have sat there for hours and just listened. Even at the end, listening to you two talking about the millennials and the boomers,
Mm-hmm.
I could have just sat and listened because I'm interested in that. That's the stuff that I like to learn about how life was 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Because I was actually going to ask you this. This is not on my notes, but I was thinking about this
Dang,
today.
I mean, I feel like was born in 1910.
No, no. I was actually going to ask, how long have you been into politics and into like what taking an interest in what's going on? Like for me, I've
Ever
said before, it's
ever
only been 5 or 6 years.
since I was young. I think I told you when I was in Chicago, I wanted to be an alderman, which is like a city council person or whatever. Um, and my father talked me out of it because he said, and Chicago is corrupt with politics, whatever. That's what they're known for. And at the time that I wanted to run, it was real corrupt, and people were getting hurt and disappearing, whatever. And my father said, with your mouth, you'll be dead within a week. Because I'm constantly, because I'm calling people out. I'm like, well, you did this or whatever. I've always been, when I was younger in school, even though I never ran for like, the class president or anything like that, I was always pointing out what was right and what was wrong. Well, that's not fair, and this isn't fair. Or I would stick up for other people. Like if one of my classmates would get in trouble, and if they were the silent type or something like that, never would have said anything. I'm like, well, wait, Baa, that wasn't his fault. It was so and so, whatever. So
Yeah.
I've always wanted to say things and have a platform where I can, tell my views, listen to other people, and it would bother me when I was in school and I would hear people, all they would do is just yell and scream at each other, but no one was listening. And that's why I always say, well, can you listen to what the other person has to say?
Yeah.
Because even if you don't like what they're saying or you're disagreeing with it, how can you start yelling and screaming if you don't know what they're talking about? Because you're yelling and screaming and you can't hear it. So yeah, so it's been a
So why did it, or maybe you did, but I don't know. Why did it take you so long to start a podcast? You've only, what is it, a couple of years now?
yeah. Let's see, Timo says, none taken with my life with duct tape on my mouth these days. Sometimes people want to put duct tape on my mouth. It's not so much that it took me so long. It's just that my life is so busy. I am into so many different things. I mean, I just do just some of everything. And as I said before, Friendly Differences, this name was actually for a friend of mine that I wanted to do a podcast with. And she kept putting it off, and she works constantly. And since I work from home, my time was just easier. I wasn't, a job that I had to deal with and then come home, whatever. So, I told her, I said, I'm going to find somebody else to do it. So while I was waiting on her, I said, you know what, I'm just going to start my own. And that's when that happened. But even then, I mean, even now, finding the time, for an hour now, 2 hours a week. I mean, that chunk of that day, I'm constantly back. Okay, now I got to catch up on this and stuff. It was just the fact that I'm just busy. I'm just busy.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But people who know me know I have been running my mouth. I've been running my mouth since forever.
As I say, an honorary mention to Scooter for me. As I say, he's the type of guy. I think if you brought up any subject he could talk about, he's very knowledgeable and in a good way, because you do get those guys like you've been to Tenerife, they've been to 11 Reef. That's what we say here. They've always the one-uppers, and he does not come across that way at all. I really enjoyed that show, but I do like the more like the topical shows, like we've done gun control, freedom of speech, and all that. So, I mean, even transgender, that show was amazing. Reagan,
that is my runner up. That's my runner up. The transgender show, that is my runner up.
Yeah, they've all been good, and as you say, I feel the same way. As we go on, it's like they're getting better and better. So, I think it's just more like the topics we're maybe picking. We started off very, there are teething problems as well. We can have like a bit. I think maybe we're a bit more static or frigid at the start. I went back and watched the freedom of speech one, and we're a bit more loose now, if you will.
The freedom of speech one. Wait, hold on, I'm just trying to see what's going on over on YouTube. Not much.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like all of our shows, and I think that we are getting better. I like that people want to be on the show. But I mean, it takes time because when I first started my show, I was on Zoom, which was a horrible platform to use. And Shy Lady, she sent me a text a couple of months ago. She said she was talking to her husband. She said, I remember when it was just the two of us, and she would just keep going. And I remember Juju, bless her heart, from the very beginning, she has come on and she would stick with me and I'm talking to myself, and Juju doesn't like to speak. I think she's only spoken maybe three times, whatever, but she doesn't like, and that's fine. Everyone doesn't like to speak, but they were there, and I was going to do it. And there were times, and we all know this, even on Podbean, when you're talking to yourself, whatever. So, and then I found Podbean, and I wanted that interaction. That's why I did Zoom, because I wanted people to come on and have that interaction. I didn't know Podbean was there. So now that I know Podbean, was around and people could actually come up and talk, because I didn't want to talk at people. I wanted to talk with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference, because even when you look at some of the YouTube shows, they're good, but everyone's in the chat. A lot of times when you say something in the chat, either people can take it the wrong way, or you're not saying what you want to say. You only get so many, characters to type, whatever. So, but yeah. And then I met you.
Yeah.
And then I met you because I had wanted to do a friendly differences type show, and I kept, looking for someone who I can do this show with, and I knew I wanted it to be someone that we were completely different. And my girlfriend, she's like you, you
Mm.
know. Uh, we are completely opposite.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, we'll be on the phone and we'll be going at it, and then we'll just change the subject, and we're laughing
Yeah.
at something else.
Yeah.
Like I said, she's the type of person where, with now that the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills has started their new season, we're going at it again, because she's on team so and so, I'm on team another
Okay.
person. And one thing that you will like about her, she is a royal watcher. She absolutely loves William and Kate.
Oh no.
I don't, even
Mhm.
though I'm not on team Meghan and team Harry, but I
Mhm.
do tend to take up for them for some of the stuff that she says. And then my whole thing is, you know what? I could care less about those people. I honestly, I don't care about Meghan. I don't care about Kate, whatever. But she will dig in, and we will just start going at it. And then we'll just start laughing. And with you, that is what I saw. I saw
Yeah.
someone that I could potentially get along with, have
Yeah.
fun with, but at the same time, we're just so vastly
Yeah.
different. And that's
And
what
that
I liked.
I'm the same as your friend. So I mean, because there's a few times we've gone back and forth, and I'm like, oh, like this is, we've had a couple of heated debates.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll say, and I do want you to know that I can be like that, where we can just switch off, change the subject, and we're laughing and joking again, just to let you know, because I think that's been the issue, and especially when it's on a phone, it's terrible, because you're trying
Because
to
you're
get so
text,
much in
yeah.
on the audio, or you're thinking, and sometimes I mean, God only knows how many arguments I've caused with typing on with relation, like with my wife, So it's better to just jump on and do this. But just so you know, even if you think it's like, and I'll always be respectful. Hopefully, I'll try to be,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll know it's never personal. These are topics that we go back and forth on, like abortion, like gun control, and argue about. But then you could say, so, Ba, what are you doing for your dinner tonight? And I'd be like, yeah. To me, it's completely different. It's
Mm-hmm.
completely different. It's separate.
And that's why when we're going back and forth, and we're either doing the audio or we're texting, that's why I say, you want to jump on
Yeah,
Melon, because then, because
yeah,
you have to, so. But
yeah,
I don't know, and I think it's funny when a few people have at times said, "Are you and Ba okay? Are you and Solid? Are you
yeah.
all okay?" Whatever. Because sometimes on my show we can go at it, and people are
Mhm,
like, "Are y'all,
mhm.
yeah, we are
Uh,
fine. We are fine." And I do see you like my little brother. And you don't have your man bun on
no,
today.
no. It was actually really warm here in Scotland today. I think if you saw my TikTok video, I had to document it because it doesn't happen often. It was, I think it was like 20 degrees. Have I got the temperature here down in the right hand
Okay, now
corner?
so you're Celsius. So what is that in Fahrenheit?
Oh,
We
it's
know.
probably still high 70s,
Okay,
80s maybe,
all right.
but that's hot for us. I mean, I can tell my face is a little red looking, so it's all good. We went out a walk. we first of all we picked up some breakfast rolls. I had like this. I know I'm kind of black pudding, egg, béarnaise sauce, and a tatty scone, which is a potato, like a flat potato scone. It's like the texture of
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
of like a muffin. And when I oh, it was like that size. And
Wow.
we went down to the local park and got a little blanket and had our rolls and just sat there for a couple of hours, and it was really nice to get outside. And because, as I say, it doesn't happen often here where the weather's beautiful in Scotland.
Well, I saw the last two posts that you had, and you know, as much as when I'm out walking the dog, I have my phone with me, but I'm never thinking to pull my phone out to like do something. And I need to start doing that because all of the things that I've been doing have all been here, whatever. But to get out and let people see,
Yeah,
what was around you, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed actually seeing that you were outside and the
mhm.
scenery and whatever. So yeah.
If
Um,
you're ever out walking your poochies, then just take out your phone, and if you've got a thought in your mind, you maybe want to ask
But that's
the
the thing. It's
TikToker.
like when I'm out walking, it's when I'm thinking. It's like my
Yeah,
quiet time when I can think. I'm like, okay, so I need to do this. And it's like I'm not thinking. Pull out your phone and
yeah,
start whatever. So you guys will probably see my one dog that I'm mainly out with, Bo, and so he'll probably be in some of the videos. So, but do you want to see if anybody wants to come up? Timbo,
yeah,
you want to if you want to come up, let us know and we can send you a link.
yeah,
But see, this is why. Oh, I will have to ask you a question. So we're
mhm.
waiting to see if Tim wants to come up, or I don't know if Hannah is still in the chat or whomever. Um, so what did you think when I asked you if you wanted to do a show?
If I wanted to do the
A
friendly
show.
differences, to me it was
No
like
worries, Tim. No worries. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
to me I've said this to other people recently actually that doing the show with you I'm so grateful for, because I wait to see if this show had started 3 or 4 years ago, I would have been way like I could have jumped into any show, a gun control show, an immigration show, and I would have known all this stuff. But I kind of left politics and kind of focused on conspiracy theories. Plus, the bigger point is I'm so glad that I found you and met you, because you're willing to debate people, you're willing to talk to people. Whereas I feel, and this I know people are not going to feel the same way, but I just felt or hadn't met anyone on the left that was willing to come on. Like even for my show with conspiracy theories, I find it really hard to find someone willing to come on and debate me. Like everyone in the comment section will hate on me believing in flat Earth, but whenever I ask them, well, come on, like I'll come on my show and we'll talk. And there's no gotchas. It's just let's debate. And everyone backs out. And I find that it's been the thing that's kind of annoyed me and kind of also added to the fact that I don't want to do politics anymore. Way back when I stopped was because I was sick of seeing right wing like Ben Shapiro's, Candace Owens putting themselves out there, but you very rarely saw people on the left, like, although you had AOC, but AOC wouldn't really debate people. She was, I mean, I know you're probably hating that I'm using her to describe the left because I
Hmm.
know you don't like her either, but people like AOC and Talib, is it? The gang, the squad, the three women.
Oh yeah.
To me, that's the only three that I knew about. And I'm like, where's the debate here? Because if you've got my biggest thing is if you've got a strong belief, put it to the test, stand against someone and debate them. Because, I'm not attacking you in any way here because it's not you I'm attacking anyway. It's that woman that you keep saying to read her book, White Fragility. What's her
Yeah.
name?
Robin D.
Angelo.
Angelo. Yeah.
So I did look a little bit into her, and someone that I was listening to said that she's never debated and she won't debate. People have asked her to debate and she won't do it. And that to me, now I'm not saying that
What?
I'm not
Okay.
saying
But
at all that
what?
she's not, but that is a sure sign. And it might not be the case with her because, as I say, I haven't looked into her. But that's a sure sign that whatever her belief is won't stand the test. And I don't like that. I think I believe in flat Earth, I'll stand with anyone. I'll stand with the head of NASA and debate them. because if they prove me wrong, I've got to go and
Okay,
reevaluate.
but don't you think that okay, Timbo says my friend has hung out with her a few times. His name is Billy Ray Valentine. He runs a podcast, but she won't let him interview her. So okay, so let me ask this. You're coming up with an assumption, and I'm not defending her at all. I'm saying this with anyone. There are some people who, for whatever reason, I mean, just when you say that that whatever her beliefs are won't stand, you can't say that. I mean, just because someone doesn't want to debate or whatever, you can't say that. I don't even like that word. I prefer saying if you want to discuss something that
Mhm.
that is fine. But some people like to argue. I don't like to argue. I can go back and forth with people, but I do know that when she wrote that book, that there were some death threats.
Mhm.
You know, so
But then,
again, I come back and I say, well, you don't know now why she won't let people interview her. I don't know, but if that book was written by, I know a lot of white people took offense to that book. But if it was Candace Owens who wrote the book, it would be different. So, or if it was Candace Owens talking about Blackford, agility, y'all would be all oh yeah, 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 whatever. So
yeah, you're gonna get that.
so
No, but what about, like, well, the way I see it is we can liken it to science. If you have a scientific experiment to make it provable, you have to prove it. Like, you've got to use that example, test it loads of times, and if the outcome is the same every time, then it's correct science. That's the same way
but
with.
okay, but what's interesting is when I read the book, I was like, okay, she's right. She's right. She's right. She's right. Because, and again, I know you hate me saying this because it was a reality that I'm living with.
Mm,
So when I was on Kimberly Michael's show and she was saying what she was saying, it was like finally another person who doesn't look like me. They understand what I'm talking about. And I don't know if she has the understanding because of who she was married to,
maybe.
who her, you know, who her children are, because you do get an understanding if you step into that world. A
Yeah.
lot of people haven't stepped into that world. So
Okay.
again,
Well, here. What about this then? D'Angelo's book and what you've just said there, or Kimberly's beliefs and all that. That's fine, and that, I mean, we've gone over this stuff before. That's fine if it stays as an opinion and a truth, but if you want to make your opinion and truth go mainstream and affect the world, that's when it has to be testable and provable. Would you agree
well,
with that?
yes and no. Hold on, I'm looking at. I'm trying to. I can't not remember this woman's name. I can only look her up. Uh, Jane Elliott. I think Jane Elliott proves what Robin DiAngelo says. She has taken the test. She has made many tests, and she has done it. And anyone who doesn't know who Jane Elliott is, she's probably in her late 70s, early 80s now. She's done many things over the years. The brown eyes, blue eyes, and she started it like in the 50s. Just showing. We weren't supposed to talk about this, but we are. Just showing um, that racism exists. And as a white person, she is showing it. I mean, Jane Elliott is Robin DiAngelo. She's saying we are doing this. This is what is happening, and she has done test after test after test, and she proves it over and over and over.
What do you mean test?
Did you see? You didn't do your homework. You're supposed to look at Jane Elliott. I want you to go on YouTube. The best one that she has done, in my opinion, is the one that she does in the UK. And I actually did a show on this one. I was on YouTube, but basically, what she did was she
But
she's the one that segregates people with blue eyes, and she segregates people with brown eyes.
Oh yeah.
And then she's really mean.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
really,
but
really go
you
ahead.
can't
Go ahead.
like for example, you saying that Kimberly Michaels is proof, but
No,
then I
I
can
no, no,
find
I no. I said that finally someone agrees with
but then
with what
that
I'm
that
saying.
then affirms, or the correct term is uh, something bias. Like your bias is bumping into a Kimberly Michaels, but then when you bump into a Candace Owens, you'll dismiss the Candace Owens, but see.
No, no, no,
Nope.
no, no,
Is
no,
that
no, 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 no,
that's what it
no,
sounds like?
no, 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 no. See, can't this is the issue that I have with Candace Owens. I think the Candace Owens, I think the Tim Scotts, I think the Clarence Thomases, I think they're all being used and they are a tool. Because one thing that I believe, and yes, I said we weren't supposed to talk about this. We were gonna wait until the other show, um, but you're asking me, so I'm telling you. I think that they are all being used as a tool, because when Black people talk about other Black people, I have noticed white people like it. They want to hear it. But when white people,
Some white people.
oh, see, there you go, the sum.
No,
Okay,
I'm not. I'm
okay,
not.
okay,
I
okay.
wish I'd
But
never said that.
okay, but when white people talk about other white people in a way that Robin DiAngelo or Jane Elliott does, there is this pushback, like, oh no, 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 how can you say that? You are wrong. And even on Kimberly's show, that
Kimberly,
woman on no, 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 on Kimberly Michael's show, when she had that one person, I'm not going to say the person's name, who kind of went back and forth with Michael the other day. In the chat, she said, like, how dare you say that about your own people? And Kimberly was like, what? But it's true. She said, this is what I think. And this woman just kept pushing back on her, kept pushing back on her, whatever. And she wouldn't come up on the, chat, whatever, but she kept pushing back and pushing back, and, and Kimberly standing her ground and what have you. So I'm just saying that if Candace Michael wants to go out, and she has said some things that are like, seriously, I mean, you're really going to say that? Come on. Because if you look at where Candace Owens came and how she's risen to the top, it's from dissing Black folks. And they love it. They love it. They suck it up. Yep. Black person said it. Oh, yep. So
then you'll have someone doing the same on the other side.
Yes,
it's all subjective.
And
like
that's
what
Robin DiAngelo wrote. Whether or not she wants to come out or say whatever, I mean, that is fine. I mean, the bottom line is, not all white people are one way. Not all Black people are one way. But again, I say this thing again. People live in their own realities, and we can't say what is right, what is wrong. I cannot go and tell a poor person, who has to fight for every meal, well, if you would do this, I don't know what they're doing. They could be trying to do everything. So
everyone's entitled to their own truth and their own reality. I don't have a problem with people's truth and realities until it starts affecting my life. And then that's when, and that's the whole reason we got onto this subject, is if someone writes a book like D'Angelo and says that this is the norm for every white person, or whatever she's saying, but yet won't debate her theory, to me, I can dismiss it. That's how we should do it.
Okay. Hello, Grid. How are you? So, why do you think? I mean, because I don't know. I don't know her. I've never spoken to her. Why do you think she won't? And I'm not even going to say debate, because I'm going to say that's a strong word. Why do you think she won't interview? I mean, why?
Because it won't hold up to today's. It won't hold up to the standards of a proper, like, this is where I let myself down. And if I got the words right, you'd maybe understand. But you can't just go making up theories. Like, I really want to say something because I've got a perfect analogy for you, but I kind of do want to save it.
You're waiting for, I know, guys, you know, we said we were not going to go down this road. We have a show that's coming up on June 25th.
Here's an example
with Kimberly Michael.
Yeah. Can I see the screen share? I have a 1 minute video that might explain it, and it doesn't get into anything to do with race, but it really describes how. I've actually got two that I downloaded today in the hope that we might have been able to use the share. So how do we, let's try it.
Okay. You should be able to share.
I understand. Let's proceed. Select window or screen.
Is it if
entire
it's
screen? Allow.
Okay.
Are you there? Can you see?
Okay.
What's
Do you
going
want
on?
the entire screen, or do you just want the? Okay.
Oh, there we go.
All right. This is really. Okay. There you go.
Are you seeing this?
Yes.
Right. Can you hear it?
This has been Ben Shapiro, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might want to turn it up a little bit.
Folks on the left don't like to hear a lot of these facts. They get very upset about a lot of these facts. But that really shouldn't matter. In a free society, we should be able to marshal our facts and marshal our statistics, and we should be able to make an argument based on that. And if people want to make those arguments, great. If not, then frankly, they shouldn't be part of the argument because they're no longer making an argument. They're making an emotional appeal. If anybody says to you that you're a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe for making an argument based on facts, then they have exited the realm of the decent discussion. And you should not be having a conversation with them. It's a waste of time. So in the end, let's get back to at least trying to predicate our opinions on something called the truth. And people like to conflate their opinion with the truth. They say it's my truth, which is idiotic. There's no such thing as your truth. Right? There's just the truth, and there's your opinion. If it is your truth, I can immediately assume it's bullshit. Okay? The truth is a fact that can be verified, and that can be backed up. And then your opinion can be based on those facts or cannot be based on those facts, and then we can make an assessment as to the value of those opinions. If we can do that, then we can have civil conversations once again, and we can have discussions that are worthwhile and for the country.
Okay.
Do you want to stop it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Let me. There we go.
That's it. So the bit about when he says exit the realm of stupidity and go back into the, like, that's what I've been trying to say. Like, I could have the opinion, or my truth is that every time I go outside, it starts to rain, and people can be like, well, we can prove that's wrong because you probably go outside every day and it doesn't rain every day. And that's how I see D'Angelo and sometimes things you say. Nobody's denying that there's not racism going on. I've seen it. I see it in videos. I see it. I've heard it. I know it's there. But when people say my truth is that this, and you need to then prove it, if it's going to create a law or if it's going to affect my life, you have to then take your belief, which is standing outside every time it goes to rain, or that every police officer is racist, or every something that affects my life. You have to then debate it. You have to bring it to the forefront.
You have frozen
on a fact. Yeah. And if you don't want to do that.
Okay. You're going in and out.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah.
So I know it sounded mean what he said about your truth is bullshit. I can just ignore it. It does sound mean, but he's right because.
Okay, you're going out. You have frozen.
You can prove them using science.
Okay. I think what he said was bullshit. I disagree. Because people do have their truth. And when you say you have to prove you, okay, according to who? Because this is what I say. If I give you an answer, and this is where I just get tired of going round and round with certain things. It's like, it just doesn't make any sense, because if you're not going to bend and I'm not going to bend, then that's when you just let it go. But if who says that I have to prove it to you? Because if you don't like my answer, then you're going to tell me that I'm wrong.
No,
And
you don't.
when you say your truth, it's like, I'm gonna take the rain thing. If you say every time I go outside and it's raining, and someone says, well, no, you're only going outside when it rains. But every time you go outside, it's raining. That's true. Every time you go outside, it's raining. It's not saying that it's raining every day. You're saying every time I go outside, it's raining.
It's a horrible analogy, but you know what I mean? Like I could say, I think I said everyone that's ever been mean to me has purple hair, and then you would bring that, and that's what I'm saying. You don't have to prove anything to me because it's still just at the level of your opinion and your truth. But if you want to bring,
if you challenge me, and I'm not, and I understand what you're saying about laws, but you also have to look at who are the people who are making these laws. So when you say if it's something that's going to affect you, there are so many laws that affect me that I'm like, well, why do I have to do this? I didn't do anything, so why is this law affecting me? There are tons of laws that are out there that affect everybody that it shouldn't. Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, so when people want to say that, I mean, I think what he said was just it was complete crap. It fit his narrative. It fit his narrative on how, on how he thinks that people who have an opinion, it's like, well, screw you. No,
Well, I mean, I don't believe there's a narrative there. I know he's a provocateur. I know he's on the right, but in that case, the alternative is much more worse, where if you allow people, and they're doing it, to use their truth and their narrative to shape the world, it's dangerous. Because if you get into, like, I had a chat with someone this week, and it was basically, or even see what Michael Key said the other night that kind of caused that person to phone in and freak out. That's basically what he's saying, and that's what Ben Shapiro is saying. If you start living in a world where there's no strict boundaries, there's no laws, there's no provableness, like science, like the real science, provable things. We don't just let people say, I believe that pigs can fly, and then we shape our world around pigs flying because it's their truth. Like, there has to be a set standard.
But there are provable things for okay. I'm not a transgender. So I cannot say that if I go into a woman's bathroom, or if I switch and I change my sex to male, I go into a male bathroom and men are looking at me like, what the hell are you doing here? I don't know what that's like, but a transgender person would know what it's like to go into the other person's, room, bathroom. So it's like, I can't say that that's not their reality or their truth, because to say that it's not someone's truth, that is their truth, because that's what they experience. I don't experience that. So how can I say that what they're saying is not true? It is true for them.
Yeah, and that's the part I keep saying. Like, no one's saying that your truth doesn't exist, but where I say there has to be a standard of provable and evidence, and where cause meets, where problem meets causation. What is it like when you bring something forward and make a decision going forward on it? It has to be provable. So, like in the trans example, if one trans says that every time they go into a bathroom, they're beaten up, and then you find out it's because they're going in there and being provocative, then that throws out their truth out the window. Because
but what if they're going in there and they really are getting beaten up?
Yeah, that's fine, that's
fine. So again, it's like, it's just that when people start talking about their truths and their realities and everything, it just gets so complicated because there's just so much more to it. There's just so much more. So I don't. So that's why I'm not ready to just knock someone down and say, "Well, you got to prove this. You got to prove this," because there's always layers to it. There's always there's just layers. And when Reagan was on talking about trans, I had already had it in my mind what I thought. But then she came on and she gave me a completely different way to look at things. I still do not believe that you should change your sex. I believe that, God gave you what he gave you, and that's it. But I welcome the fact that she gave me another way to look at things, and I'm seeing that there are different layers. And I mean, we just all can't assume, well, if you can't prove this, whatever. But there's other stuff going on. There's always stuff going on behind the scene that we may not know.
We can't, we cannot question, or I'll leave it at that. We can't question people's truths. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. No. I'm not saying that. You can, but you can't just automatically knock them down. You can't automatically say, oh, well, you aren't making sense because, you have to do this. According to who? According to you? I think that you should question whatever you want. I think anything is up. You can question anything.
Okay.
I am not saying that, but I'm saying there's a fine line when you start saying that someone doesn't make sense, and another example that I can give is when I remember probably about 30 years ago, when priests were really starting, children would say, well, Father so-and-so touched me, whatever. And you had parents who were saying, oh, come on, Father Pete wouldn't do that. He would, oh, come on. He's a priest. And these children were basically told that they were liars. Like, how could you say that about a priest? Well, here we are, fast forward in 2022. Now these people are now able to sue these people who did all these things to them, and it was proven. It was like, we just, don't assume because you don't know, you don't know. And if people are telling you, listen, do I believe people lie? Absolutely. But I also believe that, there are some truths that people go through that we never will, or we just assume that things don't happen because you don't live in that world. You didn't do that. You didn't experience that. You didn't experience going to that school where, because they considered you a nerd, you got beat up.
Yeah.
Or people say, oh, my son would never do that. And then come to find out, well, your son's the one that's been beating up everybody. Yeah, it is your son. So that's all I'm saying. So when people want to shoot down what someone's saying is, if you don't live in that world, or if you didn't experience that, or if you weren't that kid who went to school and every time he saw Bubba, he was running the other way because Bubba was going to beat the crap out of him. Can't say it didn't happen just because you didn't see it, or just because you didn't read about it.
On the topic we are alluding to, I'm certainly not saying that your truth doesn't exist, and I'm not knocking you down for it. And it's kind of hard as well because I don't know. We're alluding to that. What would you guys like to see happen as a result of what you believe your truth is? That's where I'm intrigued, because if I find out that you guys want this, and this to happen, then I have to then go, right, well, does your truth warrant that reaction? That's how you.
I am going to say that answer for that show. So you guys are going to have to wait. June 25th. You guys are going to have to wait. We're going to be on a hiatus, and we are going to be posting some pre-recorded shows. But that show is coming, and I think it's going to be a lively discussion. But yeah. But no, I understand, and I don't have a problem if people want to question me, and I welcome people pushing back. I welcome that, but
well, we're at the hour and 35 marks. Maybe a good place to stop it then, and advertise that show and a few others.
Yeah. So we have friendly differences. You guys just check out YouTube, Facebook for the recordings. Ba and I, we're getting our Grit says this is juicy stuff. Check out our TikTok. We're really trying to get to 1,000 followers, so we can do live shows on TikTok. We really want to do live shows. And then Ba has his show. You want to tell him about your show?
Well, the Podbean show is like a non-starter. I've kind of missed the last couple of Thursdays, but I really need to think of a better premise, because like you said it earlier in today's show about talking on your own, and it is hard. And also you said about talking at people rather than talking with people, and I think me and you both agree it's better when you talk with people and have that back and forth. So the conspiracy realm is kind of like where you do talk to people, unless they are knowledgeable on the matter. A lot of people don't know about the things I talk about, so I'm gonna have to revamp that idea. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I am working on it because I did like it.
But
then,
you know what? When you came on my show and did the flat Earth, you had a lot of participation.
But to me, that's the only one there. I may be biased, but I think that one gets everyone talking. Like, you bring up that, and I've actually on TikTok been going through the lives and writing in flat Earth or globe Earth, just to see if you can get just to build up the numbers, see if you'll get people taking the bait, because other ones are kind of more in depth, like JFK, 9/11, like there's not much people, but when you say flat Earth, they're like, "Oh, what an idiot!" or "Oh yeah, I'm a flat Earther too," and it's one of those. So, I'll have to work on that idea. But again, I've got Baramu podcast, which I actually take this opportunity to say I'm no longer on YouTube. I've removed all my content and left one video explaining why they don't support me. So why should I support them? And I kind of want to focus on one or two platforms and just make them really good. And yeah.
It is a lot of work. And Grid, thank you for liking all of our videos. We appreciate it. If you can tell your friends, whatever. But it's a process. My YouTube channel, it's like my subscriber list is like dismal. But when I look at how many downloads I have on Podbean, it's like, wow. And just so y'all know, since Ba and Grid are both here, because they took over my show on Thursday because my mic wasn't working. That is one of my top loaded shows. Whatever. So
the title was good. I think that might have got a lot.
Yeah, and I also had to put in there, the boys took over, whatever. But that is, on Podbean. That's another thing why I say we need to start getting onto Podbean, just the two of us. And just, to get the numbers up and let people know that we are doing these Saturday shows and what have you. So, and everybody out there, y'all, just like us. Give us a follow. Just give us a follow, because again,
love me.
Yes, love us, please. Because I and then the other day when I went on, I was really looking forward to doing that TikTok with you. Mm-hmm. And even though I knew we couldn't do it on Friendly Differences, but I said, okay, well, I know we can do it on ours. It did not click with me at all when you kept saying it wasn't going to work. I'm like, well, because I have 1,000 followers. Yeah. And it did not click with me that the other person has to have 1,000 also. Mm-hmm. So I was looking forward.
That's the only reason I knew, is because I entered a friend of the show, Jester and Michael Key. They were on one. And as soon as I entered, they were like, "Oh, get Friendly Differences on." And Michael Key knew that we needed 1,000, so it wouldn't work.
Okay. Well, Grid says, keep pushing. It will come. I know. Mm-hmm. Everything takes times, but sometimes I want to fast forward. So, yeah. But I look forward to these shows, and I look forward to going back with you. And when I say, everyone, and I mean this, and I truly mean this to you, when I say you're like my little brother, you are.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could be that annoying little brother,
Yeah.
whatever, but I mean, guys, this is the relationship. This is what it is. I'm in it for the long haul. I know he is, and I'm actually having fun.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So with that, anything else you want to say?
No, that's about it. Again, I think the emphasis is on TikTok. We need to get our followers up, because the 1,000 to get us to go live, I think that would be a huge breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
So it is. I'm happy that it is going up. We're on there quite a lot, uploading videos, and we'll have to do our funny back and forth skit. I've yet to.
Yes, we have to do that. We have to do that. But and Grit, I do want you to know that the school marm is going to be back in class on Monday, and she has names written down. So the people who were out of line on Thursday are going to get a slap on the hand. And Grit, with your what do you say, with your imitation of my "Go Where the Wind Takes You"? Yeah. You are going to be put in the corner. So can't you go live with 1,000 likes? No, it has to be followers. It has to be followers. With YouTube, it is followers. So
okay, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and stay tuned for the upload of we've had a conversation with Sava. We've got the conversation with Scooter to upload, and a few others in the next couple of weeks. And then at the end of the month, we've got that show with Kimberly Michaels, and a couple of we're working on another one. So stay tuned, guys.
June 25th, where we will be going live again. Thank you, Grit. So, okay, guys. So until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.